All right. We are back with another episode of the Real Estate Investing Club. Today we have a fellow Northwesterner. We don't have a lot of the Pacific Northwest guys on this show, but I am super excited to have one today in Paul Campo over there in Coeur d'Alene. Not the same state as Washington, but Idaho is close enough. So, Paul, I am super excited to have you on the show. Thank you very much for hopping on.
Yeah, man. Happy to be here. Appreciate being on.
For sure. Paul is a specialist in land flipping, note investing, wholesaling, and generating leads through something that I don't think we've ever talked about on the show, generating leads through email. I've attempted to do that in my past, to zero success. So I dropped email marketing and stuck with mailers and texting and all that jazz. But Paul, I'm super excited to delve into this. Before we get into the nuts and bolts of what you do today, let's go back to your past and talk about how you got into real estate in the first place.
Yeah, definitely, man. So, you listed a whole number of things there. So I've done a whole lot since 2015. Today, my active income is copywriting in the real estate investing niche, mainly for vendors, for software companies, for print shops, for gurus, coaches, and all that, and for my own brand, OmniDrip, as well. So, I started in 2015, like everybody else, nothing sexy, nothing ninja about it. I just read Rich Dad Poor Dad, jumped into bigger pockets with the rabbit hole that is, and decided to just jump in doing direct mail, door knocking, everything under the sun, just attempting it, right? And so in Southern California, yeah, I'm in Northwest today, but back then I was in Southern California.
By chance, did you sorry to jump into your story, but my first mentorship mastermind that I joined was with Matt Tirialt, and he's in SoCal. Did you ever run into him when you were working down there? Or?
No, I didn't. No, I didn't run into him. I was mainly involved in the Inland Empire real estate clubs, the LA club. So yeah, I mean, I kind of try to do things on my own, right? You read things online and just kind of shove a square into a round peg, and so or vice versa, you know what I mean? And
I was like, that would actually work.
Right? Yeah, that would actually work, right? So, yeah, I mean, I struggled like a lot of people starting out. I mean, because I'm coming from a background of a blue collar worker. I was in utilities. I was specifically a welder, and specifically in pipeline construction. So,
oh, wow.
Yeah, I have no backbone in me when it comes to sales, marketing, or anything like that. So I'm out door knocking, never done it before, and door knocking in Pomona City, out of all places. Kind of, if you don't know Pomona, it's kind of a all the gangs from LA kind of moved into Pomona. So,
nice. Great place.
Yeah. I mean, I have a story that we got chased. A true story. We got chased by some gangbangers. So, yeah. So anyway, I'm struggling, and because I'm doing direct mail, spending a lot of money doing it, and then I don't want to get too much into it, but I've shifted from there. I shifted from then flipping mobile homes, and that worked out really well right off the bat. And I was looking for cash flow, so I would do Lonnie deals, which are, if you're not, there's a whole book on this called, from a guy named Lonnie Scruggs. Wheels on Deals is the name of the book. And it's basically, you just go into parks, you find a mobile home, you buy it with your own cash, usually $5,000 to $20,000, and you buy it cash, and then put it back on the market in the park, and then find somebody to make payments to you. Usually you can get a lot of your money back with a good down payment. So
right. We actually, me and my partners, we own a couple mobile home parks, and we've had a number of people come and do that. I didn't know it was like a strategy that people use as an investment strategy to go out there and make money, but it makes a lot of sense.
Yeah, it absolutely. I mean, it has a ridiculously great ROI, especially if you're dealing with lower numbers. I mean, if you find something for 5,000, and depending on where you're at, of course, 5,000, and then you just put another 5,000 into it, and then sell it for 20,000 on a note, that's an incredible ROI on your money. So Yeah, so it was good, but I shifted from there because I was just tired from did a lot of shifting. Okay, so at the time I was also kind of neck deep into the whole copywriting world. I actually Carrot Investor Carrot was one of my first clients, so I was dealing with them and so doing work for them and with them with their clients, and so transitioned from mobile homes into land flipping, and that did even better for me. Just buying raw, cheap, vacant land, putting it back on the market, and again selling it on notes. Notes, I was really enjoying the whole note business, note origination business. So just I like the idea, get a lot of my money back, and I have this cash flow that I don't ever have to maintain, of course, unless they default, right? The default, gotta resell it again. So that was pretty much like, that was kind of a 5-year span. In that span, I kind of branched off more into copywriting. I quit my W-2 job, and it was a really, I mean, it was a really good. People think I'm crazy for doing it, but I quit my W-2 job because it was a utility. It was full benefits, full retirement. I was a welder. I mean, people almost kill to get into this type of job, but I quit. I quit because I wanted to be on my own. I want to travel a lot more with my family. I wanted to live in Northwest. So I had some freelance clients that I had consistently. So I quit and relied on that income and my notes as well. My notes helped as well with that personal income every single month. So where I'm at right now is kind of the same boat. Active income is copywriting. I'm more of a passive investor today, where I'm lending out to local investors, local flippers, always looking for cash flow deals in my local market, and I have my own brand, OmniDrip, which is a service for investors.
There you go. I love it. So yeah, I mean, it sounds like you have a pretty unique trajectory in your career, in your real estate career, especially since I mean, the Lonnie deals. That's pretty interesting. And flipping land, I've heard a lot of good experiences from there. Let's first start at the land flipping, because that's something that a lot of people like the idea of, because it is low barrier to entry in terms of the capital required. So when you did land flipping, what were your criteria? What were you looking for? How did you find the specific parcels that you were marketing to? And what was the form of marketing that you're doing?
Yeah, sure. Land flipping kind of takes is as far as the effort that's required, it's opposite of single family. So meaning there's a lot. I mean, I don't know how it is today. It's been a couple of years. I heard that it's getting harder and harder because more people have entered into it. But it's real easy to acquire, a little harder to sell it. So to acquire these things, it's really about, for me at least, it was choosing what is it about a certain area that people want to buy in. So people are buying land for a reason. There's multiple reasons to buy land, and they can do it for vacation. They can do it for there's an exotic place for them to go. The future dreams of putting a cabin on it, take to off-road, to put their primary house on it. Typically, it's usually the reasons I listed when it comes to like vacation, desirability of an exotic place to go to. Typically, I don't do land that was like put a primary house on, because California was really hard to build on. So I wasn't looking for infill lots or anything like that. So I was mainly dealing with mountain lots, because there was like this sexy appeal for city folks to have a mountain, to have this piece of land out in the mountain. And so that I really leveraged that. So to buy them, it was really easy. I mean, because I'm paying $1,000 to $2,000 for them, and people don't really know what their land is worth. And it's kind of hard to, I mean, it's kind of hard to pinpoint what something is worth anyway, or what land is worth anyway up in the mountains. And I would just do blind offers in the mail. So I would pull a list. I'd pull a list of I'll do a circle radius, pull those owners, get the duplicates out and all that. And then I would leave trusts in there. Trusts would stay on that list. LCs I would remove LCs unless my list was really small. I'd include them, and then I would just mail them. And then I would have, for every, I want to say 700 to 900 letters, I would have one at least I would have more than one contract, but one good contract. A lot of times you get contracts back where the land is kind of it's garbage. Can't do anything with it. It's landlocked or it's huge slope. Nobody would buy it. So I would cherry pick. I'd probably get like 3 or 5 contracts in the mail. So I'd have the contract and the purchase agreement right inside of the mailer, and I'd encourage to sign, mail back. I'd encourage to email it back, and I'd open up my mailbox, and there'd be a contract here and there. So once I acquire it, and I would do my own title work. I would do my own. I wouldn't take it to an escrow because we're dealing with $1,000, $2,000 purchase price. I'd immediately put it back on the market. I would hire somebody to go up there, and I had a go-to person, take videos, take pictures, and then I get it back. And when I say on the market, I'm putting on Craigslist, Facebook, putting on these landwatch.com. There's numerous land listing sites out there. So
nice. And so it sounds like, are you still executing the strategy, or is it something that you have, kind of now you're just investing passively and you're not looking more actively in the
market? Today I still have notes. I actually just defaulted on one, or one defaulted with me last year. So I sold that one. I mean, I just sold it cash. I just gave it to a realtor. But I haven't acquired one in over a year. My focus has been 100% on my brand OmniDrip, which helps investors create follow-up systems on the back end, and that's been my number one focus. So
cool. Well, yeah, let's talk about OmniDrip then. This is, as you said, it's a email follow-up sequence, correct? So it's how someone would generate more leads from their current marketing once the potential seller has already engaged with you. And jump in here if I'm telling this wrong, but so I guess just give us an overview of what OmniDrip does. I don't want to put words in the mouth.
Yeah, definitely. It's not just email. So it's an entire system for follow-up. So that's the biggest gap that when I deal with investors is that like they put a whole ton of money into acquiring leads, and leads are expensive. Leads can be, if you're paying for it, if you're paying for it versus ads and direct mail, you can be paying $200 to $500 per lead. Sometimes they dump all this money into acquisitions, but then they forget about their data. And the data in their CRM is the most important data. As long as it's fresh, is the most important data on earth for them, and they neglect it. And so I've been in marketing for all these years. The whole story I was telling you about, I was also ran my own podcast, just like what you're doing. I had an info publishing business as well. So marketing has been kind of my name of the game for me. And so I create what I do for investors is we create this system of emails, SMS buckets, sales buckets, and tasks and notifications, so that when a lead comes in, they know where to put this lead in their CRM. That then when they put it there, it's automatically selling for them. When I say automatically selling, I mean it's sending emails that we've put together for them, SMS, and tasks, and direct mail too, if their CRM can do it. If the CRM can send out direct mail, we have direct mail follow-up too. It gets sent out inside of the CRM. So
very cool. So let's talk a little bit. I mean, you said you do a lot of copywriting, and that's one of the things that, especially when it comes to direct mail, I always kind of second guess myself on what I should be saying to these sellers. We usually do postcards for the first touch. When we first send out a mailer to a list, it's going to be a postcard. And now I in fact, we just sent one this morning and I completely forgot what it said, but it was pretty basic. It was like, hey, my name's Gabe. I buy properties, I buy land, I buy whatever. And this is the address. Are you interested in selling? Something super basic. So when it comes to copywriting postcards and regular letter mailers, what do you suggest people put in those the first touch?
Yeah. So I don't think. All right. So I think people overthink this, and because it's not. I'll give you a few, like 3 items that should be in there. But one thing I do want to state is I think people overthink this a little bit too much, because there's not like anything that's you can say that's going to convince
magic words that,
yeah, right. There's nothing that's going to convince somebody to sell, first off. So I mean, we already know this. So no matter what you say, You can't do that. You can't change somebody's motivation on that. So primarily, 60 to 80% of the work and response is going to come from your list. So the other items I would say though to leverage is, one is I would today, these days, include a brand and URL in there. More people are Googling, and I'm seeing for clients, for people, and it's more people are going to the forums and filling out the forms or calling from the site. So they see the letter, and if they're a seller, right, that's the number one. If they're a seller, they're skeptical. They're very skeptical of this. Because I mean, it just sounds kind of scammy, like if they've never gotten anything like this before, and if they're in a market that they don't get a lot of this stuff, or they don't see or pay attention to this stuff, yeah, it looks scammy. So one, eliminating that skepticism and putting some kind of other omni-channel marketing method. They go to your website. Hopefully, you have a pixel in there for some retargeting, and they fill out your form. At least you have a good, credible looking brand behind it. When I started doing it, the rule of thumb was, don't put a website. You want to look like the local guy. I get that, but I'm just not seeing that in the stats today. More people are skeptical than that. Like, it's just getting a scammy letter like that. It just doesn't fly that well in most markets. Second of all, if you're in a market that really, Northwest is one of them, especially out here in Idaho. If you're in a market that really prizes locality, like, doing business with local people, I would really highlight that fact. I think that's in a lot of markets. In a lot of markets, people rather deal with the local person rather than the national investor coming in. So if you are a national investor, find ways you can say the word local if you have boots on the ground or something like that. And so that's third of all, I would include the number one solution to today's problem. So what I mean by that is, I don't like to have long, and we've tested long versus short. Short has always won. Doesn't mean that short win, that long doesn't win. And maybe there's just an occasion or the way I wrote the copy, but there's only so much I can say. So if I say I'm going to buy your house, what does that mean to the seller? So there's a whole lot, there's a ton of crap that relates to, right? It means they can sell with all their stuff behind. They can sell without having to deal with an agent, without having to deal with open house, all this minutia. Several years ago, if you put on the letter cash, like, I'm going to buy it with cash, and you reinstated that, talk about cash offer, that had less weight a few years ago because cash offers were a commodity. Everybody on the MLS was giving out cash offers, right? So it wasn't something that really stood out. But if you put in no realtor fees, now that has a little bit more attention because there's, at that time, the MLS is there's a lot more inventory on the MLS than there is today. And so the appeal to, hey, I don't have to pay commission, was a lot more appealing than cash. Does that make sense so far, Gabe? So today, yeah, today it would be if the market's slowing down in your market and days on market are creeping up. Here, for example, we're seeing days on market creep up. Prices are a little bit falling, less buyers in the market. So what's the solution? What does your cash offer give for that solution? And that's the one feature, one benefit that I would mention. I would just, subtly mention, this is what could happen. This is what it means for your cash offer. So
cool. Yeah, that makes total sense to me. How about follow-up? I mean, we all know the gold is in the follow-up. If you let leads just kind of hang out there, you're going to lose them. So what are your top tips? Like, what are the first, the best things that people can do when they have already touched a list? How should they be following up with the lists that have come in, or the leads that have come in?
Yeah, absolutely. There's a whole, so I guess I can break it down to three things. That's how I usually do in webinars and podcasts. Just there's three things we can do. And there's three things that we do with my brand, OmniDrip. And so Number one, like top level, like looking at 10,000-foot view is the buckets, the sequences, right? Everyone looks at it as just, oh, these are drip sequences, but I look at it as a total system of how a lead flows through from beginning to end. We have phases. Everybody has a phase that they go through. Once a seller hits your system, what's the next thing? Well, the next thing is book an appointment, and they haven't booked an appointment yet. So they're going to stay in this sequence. Maybe it's a missed call. Maybe it's a form filled. They're going to stay in the sequence until we book the appointment. They book an appointment. There's a sequence for that. And I have a sequence for booked appointment because I'm a believer in pre-selling. And my clients have like talked about how they feel from using this, they feel that it does help getting a seller more comfortable with the actual appointment and getting them ready. Once they book the appointment, if they miss the appointment, that's an obvious sequence. You miss the appointment. The reason why I break it up into all these little sequences. Yeah, the events is one, helps your lead manager keep track of, you can easily look, okay, this person's in the missed appointment sequence, so the missed appointment, and the copy can be driven for the next sale, right? There's I once heard somebody give their grief about cold calling, like they're cold calling, they can't find a deal cold calling, but the problem with that is that you're not trying to find a deal when you're cold calling. All you're doing when you're cold calling is you're just looking for sellers. That's it. That's the first sale you have to make. There's a whole bunch of little sales you have to make before you even actually get to the deal. So as in marketing, we have all these little mini sales we have to make along the road. So if they miss the appointment, then my sale I have to drive them to is to reschedule. So the copy is target focused and molded for that specific event. So all these, if they say that the offer is too low and it's a landlord, boom, there's a sequence there that's specific for that event, that objection that they gave. So all these, so I have about 20. I have more than that. We have about 25 in our database, and that's what all these little touch points for all types of different scenarios. So.
Nice. Yeah, that makes total sense to me. I mean, there's all these small things that can occur, which will kind of change your strategy going forward, trying to get to that sale. And you're right. Wait, what's the statistic? It's like you have to interact with somebody 7 times before they're likely to sell to you, something like that.
That's the old statistic. It's a lot more now. Now they're finding
times.
A lot more. Let me give you this perspective. I have peers that so I have a client deal with, he's in a print shop. They're a direct mail company for investors. We don't see somebody buy until 4 months later, on average. So 3 to 4 months. So we're doing paid ads. And then once they get once they're on our email list, they're getting almost a daily email. They're seeing ads on top of that. They may see some organic posts as well. That's a shitload of posts. Excuse me. That's a ton of touches right there. I have a friend who sells copywriting courses. He's really well known in the market. His name is Daniel Thrustle. He just sells in the copywriting niche, and he doesn't see a sale on average until 120 emails, and he emails daily. So it takes a lot more.
Yeah, 120 emails. That's a lot. That's more than I thought.
Right. So
which goes to show that you should be following up more than you think.
Absolutely. So
and I know that we don't do emails, but we usually just call, we follow up with the sellers that we deal with on the phone. And we've closed deals. I mean, we're in contract right now on a deal out in Georgia. And I think we were following up with him for 2 years before he finally decided to sign and move forward. So you just got to keep following up. That's the name of the game.
Yeah. I don't think it's in the email or the SMS. I mean, I make sure that I include tasks for, I mean, a lot of people want to do ringless voicemail, and my clients are really just like, I've set them up with scripts. We do set them up with scripts that make sense for each sequence. But they want to do ringless voicemail. I see it like this. If you're actually calling the person and then leaving a message, that's 2 touches. So because me personally, I don't even check my voicemail. it could be weeks until I actually check it. But if I get a missed call, that's one touch because I see it on my phone. I look at it as a touch. Oh, I see a missed call. And then the voicemail left is a second touch, right? So I look at it as a very omni-channel type of way. So if I leave a message, if I send a text message, an automated message, and for me, it's not just about like my philosophy, because I think a lot of investors struggle with what to say other than, hey, are you still interested in selling? Right? That's the biggest struggle. Like they can't get past that. And there's a whole bunch of stuff they can, if they go on my website and get the samples and get my demo, they'll see what I mean. There's a whole list of things you can say that aren't just, hey, are you still looking to sell? Well, one of the things early on is we try to move them to other assets. So I deal with a lot of clients that have online presence. So hey, we create these articles for them that fit the sequence, that fit what we're talking. Like, so if the seller says to you that, hey, they're just going to fix the house themselves, cool. We're going to give them some value. We're going to give them an article about how to fix what are the top 5 rehab items in the market today. Cool. Put that in an SMS message. It drives them to your site. That's 2 touches. You got the message and they hit your website. Now they're in your universe, in your world. And if you have a pixel on there for Facebook ad marketing, which is really easy, other people can set it up for you. Now you're running multiple ads. Then now that's, it could be 100 touches. So yeah, big believer in all this because I want people to get into your universe and your world, and for you not to forget, so they don't forget you.
Yep, absolutely. Yeah, I always think you mentioned the pixel and then the Google tag. Those are the 2 things. If somebody ever asks like what's the biggest ROI I can get on my marketing budget, I always say just put a pixel and a Google tag or Google Analytics on your website and then just run some remarketing ads because it's so cheap. And those are the people that actually have shown interest. They've gone to your website. They've demonstrated that they have interest in engaging with your company. So I like that you mentioned that. I just took a peek at the clock. It looks like we have run it down. So it's time to jump into the quick question round. Are you ready?
Yep, absolutely.
Let's do it. It starts with books or any form of education. I need 2 recommendations, one for general life wisdom, one for real estate or business specific.
General life wisdom. So I love reading. I love reading biographies. But I'm going to list off the book that I just constantly go to and I'm always reading. It's an audiobook. There's no actual book, very old book. It's called The Strangest Secret by Earl Nightingale. It's an old 19, So old 1950s motivational speaker. Love the guy. I love Strangest Secret because it's short and I can attribute a lot of life changes to that audio there.
Yep. Yeah, that I've never read it. I've been given it I've been given that book many times, but I haven't actually gotten through it. I've heard great things though, so I should probably finish it up one of these days.
Yeah.
And that leads us to no, that was a 2-part question. The real estate book. Give me one of those.
Yeah. So I think my favorite for real estate is Invest with Debt by Jimmy Napier. That's I think a classic. It's what really drove me into note investing and getting started with the financial calculator, understanding how to calculate these, getting started into buying stuff seller finance, selling stuff seller finance. So selling notes as well. If you want to ever sell partials of your notes and things like that, you can get some creative stuff, which is really awesome. So that's my favorite for real estate right now.
Nice. Yeah, I have heard of that one before. That does sound like a good one. I haven't jumped into notes yet, but if I do, I'm definitely gonna have to pick that book up. All right, next question is about your business. The 3 first positions that we hire form the foundation of our business. I forgot my own lead in there. The first 3 positions you hire form the foundation of your business. What are they for you, and would you do it differently if you did it again today?
You said hiring positions, so somebody to hire into?
Yeah, so the first 3 positions you hire for your business, usually they form the foundation of what you're working on. So what were those 3 positions for you, and would you do it differently if you did it again today?
Absolutely. So VA who runs quote production. So production can be moving things down the pipeline. So I guess it depends on how you structure your business, right? For me, for OmniDrip, I have a service based, so it's a production. So the VA is crucial to me, and giving her in training, getting her trained, getting a Trello board, everything on how moving a lead down the line, the production line. That's how I see it. So VA has been crucial for me. How I would do it differently, I think how I do it today is from my mistakes in the past. One is not not just handing something to a VA and hoping that they're going to do it right. They never do. They don't. And so you need to have a way of doing things already in your mind and putting down for them to understand. Yeah. So you cannot rely somebody to create your systems and processes for you. You got to create those from the beginning and then tweak them along the way. So do not allow anybody to not just give it to somebody and trust and never verify.
Yep. Yeah, that's why I love not Zoom. I like Zoom too, but Loom. I love Loom.
Oh yeah,
Because it makes it so easy to make those, little videos for VAs. Like, hey, I want you to do this, run through it once yourself, record it with Loom, send them the link, and yeah, super easy. I love that
make
platform.
checklists because almost everything you do can be broken down to a checklist. And so I make a checklist, and in those checklists there's embedded videos, Loom videos, and then they have to on my Trello boards they have to check off for each lead, for each client. They have to check off what they've done before they move that person to the next phase, next down the line.
Yeah, I love that. I also Loom. Another reason I like Loom is they start their videos at 1.25 or 1.5 or something like that speed. And so when you're watching it, I've noticed this when I send the link to my VA, I'll look at the video and it's going super fast. And I'm like, that's actually useful because, watching this at one time speed is kind of boring. But that's an aside there.
Unless the guy, talks like a maniac and is way too fast for you to.
Yeah. What did he just say?
But yeah.
All right. Next question is about the US. It's a big place, a lot of opportunity out there. Give me the single metro you're most excited about investing in today.
Oh, my own local town. That's yeah. I mean, yeah. I think there's always a way to invest in your local town. Coeur d'Alene is a vacation rental place. So we just moved here and we've been here for 6-7 months now.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So yeah, I'm excited about discovering the community and all that, and rubbing elbows with people out here. But it is definitely a short-term rental. That if you want to invest, that's the name of the game out here. So there's ways to invest in your every market. It's just got to figure out what is the way that works the best. Yeah. So yeah.
Yep. All right, and this is a good question for you. It all starts with finding the deal. So, what is your favorite way to find good deals?
Oh, I guess that's hard to because I'm not in the game today, and probably for land it was mail 100%. That was just yeah, we had that nailed down. If I were to get back into it today, I mean, if it was land, it would be mail. It'd be mail, and it'd be in a combination of digital and all that. I don't think that let me, and we're running out of time here, but I don't think people should focus on one way of marketing. I think there's this whole thing, this whole saying, one of anything is really dangerous. So having that bottleneck there, right? SMS has been really on the news lately because it's making it difficult for people to cold SMS. So if you're just doing a cold SMS, you're playing a really dangerous game. So I don't believe in having just one way of doing things. Sure, when you start out, do one thing, but learn how to find leads and other methods as well. So
cool. Yep, that makes sense. All right, that leads us to the last question. This is for the listeners. You've given us a lot to think about. I'm sure people want to reach out, learn a little bit about what you guys do over there with your marketing company. So, what is the best way for them to reach out and get in contact with you?
Yeah, absolutely. Just go to www.reiomnitrip.com. You can get samples, you can get a demo of what I do. Yeah, and you can email me straight from that website too, and I'll respond.
Cool. And that is REI Omni Drip. I will put that link in the show notes. If you guys want to reach out, just go ahead and click a little more in the description. It'll pull down the full description. In there, you can find Paul's links. All right, Paul, that wraps it up. Thank you very much for hopping on the show.
All right, Gabe. Thanks for having me on. Appreciate
Absolutely. For everybody who's here with us today, thank you guys for showing up. You are the reason we do this. So if you guys have any questions, reach out to me, Gabe at therealestateinvestingclub.com. And if you guys want to support the show, all we ask is you give us a like, subscribe, share, all that jazz. Other than that, I hope you guys have a great week. Keep rocking real estate, and I look forward to seeing you on the next episode.